This is London with Bitcoin Spike and VIP Trader. Looking at the New York Open with NVIDIA off just a touch, picking up at our specific fire sale line on the 3-minute time frame. That level is in play. Had some interesting news from NVIDIA. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. In terms of that green buy line in the 15-minute, looks like it's engaging as well. And the bulls have their work cut out for them today on NVIDIA. Had some interesting news in terms of NVIDIA and those chips that are being potentially delayed, that were en route to China. Hello, big deal. So bulls trying to hold that specific 15-minute on the open. I'll remind you, this is not intended for live trading. We just take a look at the volatility to see what we can catch. You'll see after that specific cross under on the 15-minute to go through some strategy. See that cross under and bam, who just got paid? The bears, who are hanging out with a natural cross under that 20 moving average and bam, straight down to bam, look at that bottom side target engaging. And yeah, just some troublesome news in terms of the chip delay for NVIDIA. That 6 hourly has a stronger downside target. If you're a bear in the market, just understand the technique we're looking at, which is the cross under the 20 moving average. So this level in and around that 474 would be the technical target, as would be on the 4 hourly, the level that we would look at, that 475, just the bottom side band. So we'll continue to look at these specific tactics that are in play while we do see that 3-minute fire sale line. If you're on that 3-minute, you're doing relatively well this morning if you decided to charge in on NVIDIA with some downside targets noted, but looking at about a 0.75% move. That was the one out of the gate that pushed a bit, did decide to rifle back up and over. You'll have your capital control line and your 20 moving average on that specific level, but a bit tricky, guys, in terms of the news coming out, etc. I'll just remind you, and we're looking at programming in quite a bit in terms of our interaction with the markets. Let's take a look at Tesla. Then of course we'll get over to Bitcoin, which is really the story of the day. We will cover the volatility to see what all we can learn from the markets, okay, overall, while we have some immediate movement on the markets. I'll just remind everyone that the specific level to beat on Tesla, just in case you're looking at a coverage and handle, it's going to be this top pivot point. Now, we need this for our Bitcoin trades. Very relevant as we're seeing this specific level of interest to be completed up and above by the bulls. The 246 is kind of the go zone here. The 246 with some hurdles to the left. Rewatch last week's to the extent that guys, you're trading. Congratulations. To the extent that you're just paying attention to the velocity, to the dynamics, the technical dynamics. That's the way to be. That's the way to, I just say, master your technicals. Get as many patterns as you can in the book in terms of what your experience or what your profile looks like. Get log as many patterns as you can. That's why we look at the open. Definitely looking at this green zone up and above. It's go time. And we talked about this last week intensively, that we want to be a part of a strong accelerated move typically in the market. If we were to look at another accelerated move, it's okay with the chop, guys, but I don't want to spend all day, all week, all month, all quarter staring at price action and slowly making money. I want to be a part of the accelerated moves when we can expect those accelerated moves. So in terms of such, let's get back up and above that 246 and look at a go time play for Tesla, technically based upon the patterns. That's it. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin doing well. We've got a flat top resistance. We've got an ascending triangle. There's no guys, no question here what's going to be the litmus test. We've been saying it over under on the 37,500. Hey, indeed, that is the critical level in question. And it's nice, I brought this to the attention of the VIP today to look at. You would say, well, that's fine, but we just don't know really how much it's going to move. And we don't know really, how catchy or how let's say how many whipsaws we may have, how much chop we may have around that 37,500. I want to encourage you of the following: as you define a level of interest, okay, long over, short under, 37,500. I'm going to encourage you to look at the pattern dynamics that are in play and to start to take some personal inventory in terms of how you're approaching a breakout. Now, this is the advantage here at 37,500. You're already pre-positioned, okay, up and over that 38,000, okay? The 38,000 is gonna be the breakout, but to the extent that you have already traded this specific 37,005, you are so well poised right now. You realize the advantage you have on the market right now is that you traded a breakout at 37.5. So while the rest of the market is here, Pay attention. While the rest of the market is here, you got it. Pay attention. This is great stuff. Looking at the specific breakout zone, what did it do to the bulls today who decided to trade the breakout? It axed them, guys. It rocked them to the downside. What did you get? What was the advantage if you had the 37,005? Boom, you are still sitting comfortably. No sweat. Literally no sweat. That is the way to be in terms of the pattern identification. If you can establish a line, and I will say this, if you can incorporate in the pattern dynamics to give yourself, and I've lined out the Fibonacci's here, to give you some sort of a wave count or percentage threshold, in terms of an expectation for a breakout, okay? Is it gonna be around that 40% level? That would be great, you know, on into, let's say, really the 40%. The 38.2 is gonna be calculated as such. If we look at the specifics, I will say generally speaking, and you'll find this within Proctor, generally speaking, and I may change these for you, I may not. They're fine as is. You guys know your tool here. If you go to the second specific fib wedge, go to the fib wedge on your chart. It will lay out the specific Fibonacci's for you. It's a Fibonacci wedge. We use these for bell pattern formations, just so that you know. I make sure that the first hit into resistance is somewhere in this first level of delineation, just so that you know. I make sure that the first hit into resistance is at some point hitting into this first threshold area and let's say measurement of Fibonacci here. Okay, that's kind of my my specific requirement. Now I can get more conservative. Now this would be getting more conservative. Pay attention as to why. This will be more conservative, okay, because I am pushing the levels in and I'm requiring more activity to get up into, let's say, a 38.2 or a 23.6 remaining. And I say remaining because if we're at 40% here, the 38.2, we've gone through 60% of the development, okay? If we're at 23.6 or about 25%, that means there's about 25% left in this specific structure. So we're about 75%. So this is like 60 and 75% really, okay? So understand that. And we haven't gone over this, or at least in a while. But yes, I'm going to become more conservative if I'm pushing this in along the lines here on the first pivot into the pattern. Why? Because I'd really like to go ahead and get on through here before I really look at engaging in a higher probability set based upon Proctor, Elliott Wave International, right? That 60 to 75% zone really, okay, becomes more conservative if I'm waiting longer. Okay, so if I'm condensing this and essentially compacting the specific zones and elongating these, really contracting towards the apex is what I'm doing from the peripheral here. I'm contracting these levels towards the apex, which means what? Which means, well, my 60% completion's here. My 75% completion's really here, as opposed to becoming a little bit more aggressive, right? I become more aggressive if I say, well, no, I want my 60%. I mean, I could really give myself more of a, and pay attention, I could give myself more of a, and hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Hey, shout out to all the VIP. Hope you guys are doing well. Now, looking at this, I could become more aggressive and say, forget about it. I'm not even going to worry about this first 10, 15%. I'm going to draw in as a matter of practice. I want to become more aggressive. I'm going to draw into this second layer here. And now I'm just about at my specific, right? I'm just about now at my specific, if we're looking at a 60%, it's the 38.2, but that's measured from the apex. So take about 40%, the 0.4, 38.2, and take that 40% and say, well, okay, we're 60% into the pattern. So I can become more or less aggressive depending upon the rules that I establish or the way that I decide to almost concoct this and say, no, I'm, on this specific pattern, and this would just not make sense, guys. But I'm going to go ahead and draw this all the way out to the bottom level here. You don't have a pivot into the top, right? So this is a good discussion in terms of the dynamics in play as you look at structuring your over or under. And again, it's very important because it really pre-positioned you here quite well, quite well, that 37,500, where the rest of the market today got beaten up on a breakout trade up and over, right? And I'll say, what would we say? Beaten up to the point of what? Well, fine, you're over long if you're playing the 38. And what happens? Well, you stop out. No problem. So if you were to look at that, just understand, it's like, well, it does hurt for those who aren't deploying orders correctly in the market. But an over here with a stop just means, well, we didn't get up and out. Doesn't change the fact that those up and over the 37.5 definitely had an opportunity here to take some cash even at that specific, what was it, the weekly? You guys can look at that. Let's check that out real quickly as we look at Bitcoin. Exciting price action potential move to the upside, and we're going to need to get over this. Looking at that weekly standard deviation right here, you just see that weekly standard deviation just did nicely, didn't it? About 0.67% to the downside. That is the level to beat right now. If you're looking at a flat top resistance, great. What just caught this morning, we've been on this level for a while. The weekly standard deviation needs to flip. It just does, okay? This is a look from the 4-hourly time frame, but we do have that specific weekly standard deviation. And what did we hit to the upside? Congrats to anyone who traded to that 4-hourly standard deviation. The 4-hourly standard deviation. When I say the weekly standard deviation, I'm talking about the 20 moving average on the 4-hour on the 4-hourly or the weekly time frame. I could see how this could become confusing to individuals who may tune in and not understand what the heck we are doing, but you guys got it, right? Without a doubt. Nice to be in good company technically, without a doubt, huh? Hey, we got that going for us. We can definitely roll with the best of them technically, guys. You guys are some of the best of them. So in terms of that flat top resistance, yes, we have also that weekly standard deviation. Just keep an eye on such. If you want to dig down a bit, I don't want to dig down too much. Those are the macro levels in play. Just the 37,500 is going to be one that you're going to want to continually be. I'm just going to be on the record, and you guys are going to get sick of hearing this until you're going to hear it, and it's going to make so much sense at one level, and you're going to look back and be like, I can't believe I could have been short under that level. I'm going to carry this up to 100,000, guys, in terms of the long over, short under, okay? I want the 25% pullback. I definitely want, everyone is a given, you want the 25% pop to the upside on Bitcoin? Well, join the club. What a unique, rare club, huh? You want the 25% pump to the upside. You and everyone else. I happen to follow guys, my intuition, which says, yes, I want the 25% pump to the upside, and I'm going to get the 25% drop to the downside. I want them both. That's just why I'm in the market. I want to be the guy that gets them both. So we're really going to continue to focus on every guys, distinguishing variable and factor that we can put into play to capitalize on not just the 25% pop, if and when and to the extent that we have gotten them and continue to get them, that's fine. I want the 25% pop and the 25% drop. I want to position myself well to where I have an immediate flash or shorter term interest and a carry position, long and short. That's what I want to work on mastering as we get into 2024. Good gosh, 2024 incoming. Excited about that. And I just want to re-encourage all of you that at least that 37,500 did what? It pre-positioned you quite nicely, caught you away from a bit of some catchy price action. If you were, to the extent that you were plugged in to the specific weekly standard deviation, it's a line that we look at all the time. Not sometimes, guys. We look at it all the time. So in terms of the specifics of our, let's just say, our classic open New York, the over-under, I'm just going to say the over-under can complicate itself a little bit on equities because equities close. We have no excuse other than sleep and family, which is a great excuse. But we have no excuse because the market is open, able to execute our orders at price of our choice on crypto. That's why we focus on it, right? We'll take the technicals in from crypto, from equities. We want that pattern dynamic in play. We'll take the lateral short opportunities and really assess them, for instance, on NVDA and say, yeah, that was a nice lateral short, right? As we were to look at the procedures, I would just tell you, I gave a bit of a talk a couple of days ago. It's not me being bearish. I want you to know it's not me being bearish when really the gut purpose of the whole talk was to say, really, let's focus on Bitcoin, the bottom line, because if we're looking at all of these specific assets and we've got a laundry list, we've got 500 positions and 2,000 assets now that we've grown our accounts. Guys, I just want you to focus. The bottom line is like, what gets us here? What has the volatility? What's the coup de grace? What's the prize asset? It's going to be Bitcoin. You guys know that. So that is the way that we roll. Let me make sure here that we're firing on all cylinders. Let me see where we're at on, on the stream and make sure I don't have any comments, questions, or otherwise. We may be, let's see what we have here. Well, it looks like if there's anything in the chats and I'm missing it, I will have to ask. Apologies for you. Shout out to me in the DM in the back, because I'm not even getting a listing on our own channel here. So to the extent that we are private, fantastic. To the extent that you're here and doing well, 37,500 marked over under. Note some difficulties with NVIDIA in terms of the popular press, what they're telling us. The drop paid on NVIDIA, in spite of some really bad news, couched as bad news, right? We have to say that we've got some downside targets. Let's see how that plays out on NVIDIA. A bit of a limbo position with, guys, it's just great practice as you start to look at, well, it's a cross under. What can we take from NVIDIA? It's a cross under. We're on a midline threshold. The lower pro line is in effect, and we have a downside target. Now, as you look at that, what's the percentage completion rate of the hit to the downside on the lower specific standard deviation versus what? Versus a hit to the 50% level. Yes, you're going to start to look at those in terms of the hit to a 50% level is much higher, 50% of the way to the specific standard deviation. And we have calculations for all that, which we will go over as needed. This is London with Bitcoin Spike and VIP Trader. Hope you're well rested, that you've had plenty of time with your family, plenty of food and friends and family and fun. And we're diving into some really great holiday times here. So we're looking forward to nothing but the best for you and your family as we unfold the beginning here of 2024. We couldn't be more excited or better planned. I'd say we have a lot in the pipeline. We're excited, and I mean that directly and just unequivocally really excited about that incoming pipeline, right, of dev and just everything great that's going on in 2024 already, right? It's already going on as we close out fourth quarter here with several weeks to go. Let's look at that hourly on Tesla, so that 20 moving average, nice level of interaction, and we'll look at that 4 hourly. You see Tesla playing off a bit of that 20 moving average, a little bit coy to say the least. Tesla pricing, welcome. Yeah, welcome to Tesla pricing. You know this, she's gonna push you around. Unfortunately, she just is. What else is acting a little bit better these days? Bitcoin. You got it right. Bitcoin's acting just a little bit better. You guys agree? Indeed. So nice to see the pickups that you guys, the trades that you have. It was great to see that the last couple of days. Just pay attention to the patterns on equities to the extent that you're looking for a high liquidity. And guys, it is a high liquidity, should be higher probability, or at least in line with conformance on your specific trades. Just look to equities as maybe an example, just another page to turn in a book that you can grab something out of. Tesla, just before we leave, looking at that daily specific capital control line. We're going to lay out HQ a little bit differently, is my plan in 2024 and beyond, so that we have all of this up at one time. So we're going to fashion something to where we have the ability to communicate, not just with one screen, because we jump around a lot. So my goal is going to be to have an environment here that we can communicate about all of this and see all of this at the same time, and at the same time communicate with you about all of this. Because right now we're a little bit crammed in terms of room, in terms just for the reason that YouTube has allowed us or not to display multiple real screens via cross-channel or otherwise. So we're going to be working on some solutions for that. They won't be extraordinary solutions. We'll keep it simple, but something that can address that dynamic as we look towards, I know that you at your home have the multiple screens, you have the multiple view, and as we talk through the technicals, you can take a lot of this kind of our morning huddle and meeting, you can take a lot of that with you through residual of the day, and they can be kind of points to focus on in anything that you do. But I want to make this a bit more interactive and constructive as we look at our own interaction here as a group in 2023, the fourth quarter here, and going on into 2024. Looking at this downside target, let's see if NVIDIA wants to do this today. That would be a nice move. What's the percentage here? And guys, I know it's almost like I'm reinforcing the situation here. It's like it's Bitcoin. What else is doing pretty well? Let's stick with Bitcoin. You guys want to trade some alts in the bag? Is fine. Ethereum looks brilliant at $2,100. It just does. $2,100 is the equivalent on Ethereum of the $37,500 is the equivalent of 8 cents on Doge. Just so that you know, rank them as you will. The technical measures in play are Bitcoin at 37,500 is your over under. Ethereum at what? Ethereum at 2,100. So Bitcoin's 37,500 is Ethereum's 2,100, 2,100, okay? Which is what? Which is Doge's 8 cents. That's it. Doge is 8 cents over under. ETH is 2,100 over under. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin's 37.5 over under. All levels that are technically in play. All right, this is it. What is Solana? I'm sticking with $66 over and under. Why? Because that was the level that we called in around the top here recently. And Solana in the back. I want to know who owns it. I want to know who looked at it and said, hey, that's a sweet, we're high. Yeah, who said we're high at Solana at 66 bucks? Now, we've got some interesting pattern dynamics playing out in the residual of these. I do not intend to be bearish, except to the extent that we were deviated this far away from a daily standard deviation, a daily simple moving average, and to the extent that you rocked out a 23% move on Solana. Gee whiz, nice move. When you catch these to the upside, you won't forget it. If you can catch a move back down to the 20 moving average on the daily 20 moving average, that was a 20% move. So we've had a lot of levels, a lot of practice. You're getting some of the pains down in terms of operating over or under the execution challenges. What are the technical challenges and requirements? What are the different the different constructive advantages that we can bring to our game, our trade game, that can help us operate more in line with a higher level of probability, with a higher level of a higher level of not distinction, but conformance, sheer conformance with technicals as they're presented to us via the authorities, i.e. Prechter, i.e. Bulkowski, i.e. Murphy. Good stuff. As we file into further in conformance with those technicals, we're looking for higher probabilities. We're looking for more more gains in the market. That is the MO. That's what we're after. This is London with Bitcoin Spike and VIP Trader. I'm going to go rock the weights for a little bit, and we'll be around. Can't be more excited, guys, about the Christmas season incoming, about whatever holiday you've got going on with your family. And I can mention half a dozen of them in addition to Christmas, but I feel like I'd be exclusive if I started to do that. So wherever you're at in the world, whatever you're doing, whatever you're celebrating, we look forward to celebrating it with you at the end here of 2023. Let's rock into fourth quarter. This is London with Bitcoin Spike and BIP Trader.